With any type of standard that you're going to align to or certify to, really where you want to start is figure out, how do I measure up against that standard now? And the best, easiest, and most cost-effective way to do that is with an assessment. There are various types of ISO assessments that we offer as an organization that are rather quick in duration and very cost-effective. And what we do is we have a workbook that's built that outlines each component of the ISO standard. We do some documentation gathering with you up front to figure out what components of the ISO you already may have in place. We review that documentation. We do some on-site workshops with you to go through that documentation and understand policies and procedures and how your program is comprised. We complete the workbook and we give you rankings against each component of the ISO. And so at the end of the day, you really kind of get a scorecard that shows you, oh, I might be very strong in the leadership component of the ISO, but I might be very weak in the planning component of the ISO. So now you really know where you need to focus your attention and your dollars to make sure that you bring that piece of your program up to speed. There's many components to the ISO standard. The first being context of the organization. And what that is talking about is, what is your BCM program being built to accomplish? You may choose as a starting point just to build a program around components based in a certain country or a certain location or a certain operating unit. And that context is really kind of defining the scope of what the BCM program is being built to cover. When you get past the context, there's the leadership portion of the standard. And leadership, as it implies, really means, how is my program going to be governed by the leadership of my organization? And that is an area that we see working with many of our clients that's lacking. Once you get past the leadership, you get into the planning piece of the ISO. And as the name implies, planning is really talking about all of the pieces of the program that need to come together to build your program. Support is talking about, what support do you need to get those pieces of the program built. And again, that goes beyond that leadership component, but there are probably many other support parts of the organization that need to come into play to help. Operation talks about really the kind of the nitty-gritty of a program. It talks about performing risk assessment and business impact analysis and strategy evaluation and building plans and exercising those plans. So kind of all of the tactical pieces of a BCM program coming into place. And again, it's not prescriptive to tell you how to go out and perform a business impact analysis. Performance evaluation is talking about, how are we going to measure how successful we are? What are our measurement criteria? What are the metrics that we're going to use ongoing to make sure that the program is staying best of breed and up to speed? And then finally, improvement, the last component of the ISO, is talking about, okay, how are we going to make sure that we continually improve our program? It's not, BCM program is not one of these things that's developed and then put aside. So with many of our clients, we always suggest the crawl, walk, run approach. And the reason we do that is we want to make sure that you as an organization don't bite off more than you can chew. If you have a more immature program and from an assessment you find out that we really have a lot of gaps against the ISO, you probably want to take the step to try to align to the ISO first before you take the next step to certify. We see many clients that spend a lot of time and effort, and they may take all the necessary steps to get there. They might do a BIA and they might develop strategies and plans, and then they get to validation and exercising, and they try to exercise everything at once. And they fail because it's too much to accomplish for an immature organization with an immature program.